Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, we're taking a look at another updated Pokemon in the Season 17 balance patch, and that is Steel Wing on Fearow. Fearow is a normal and flying type Pokemon that has very good charge moves. Aerial Ace and Drill Run both solid charge moves and give amazing coverage for a flyer. However, its biggest issue is it's never had a good fast move, but Steel Wing is now a Poison Jab clone, so I'm very excited to test out Fearow and to see, with the good fast move, is it finally going to be worth using. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches, and let's test out the newly buffed Steel Wing Fearow in the Great League. Hopping into the first match, picking up a slightly negative lead, Whiscash into Azumarill. This is a battle of neutral damage, but the bulk advantage that Azu has does give it the upper hand. I'm going to fire off the Mud Bomb, throw one Mud Shot, switch into the Toxapex, and catch the move where it's guaranteed to be resisted. The goal of the Toxapex save switch is to check and see does the opponent have any Steel types or Lantern in the back. If so, I want to try and bait those out to hopefully clear the way for Fearow to sweep. Opponent sends in a Trevenant, so they do not have a Lantern in the back, and Trevenant doesn't have an amazing matchup into the Toxapex. I'm able to fire off the Sludge Wave, grab a shield from my opponent, and they're not going to be able to farm down here. They're forced to throw a Seed Bomb, which is terrific. They don't leave with a lot of energy, but even if they did, that energy is going to be completely useless against this normal flying typing on the Fearow. They're going to be firing off the charge move. They go for the Shadow Ball as it does slightly more than Seed Bomb. Fearow gets the farm down. What does the opponent have in the back? We know they still have the Azumarill. They send in Skeledirge, and this is where having that coverage on Fearow is so nice. Drill Run will be shielded up by the opponent. I'm going to switch into Whiscash, and I'm able to make it to the Scald, but not before my opponent will fire off their energy. They go for the Shadow Ball. They're staying in, so I can throw two Mud Shots and then go for the Scald. This will hit for massive super effective damage. Scald picks up the knockout onto the Skeledirge. In comes the Azumarill, and things are looking very, very good in this endgame. I fire off the Mud Bomb, getting the Azumarill closer and closer to the Drill Run range. This Mud Bomb is going to secure the victory here, as this Mud Bomb means they are comfortably into Drill Run range. They're forced to throw energy onto the Whiscash. Whiscash might even live this, and does. In comes the Fearow with the Drill Run loaded. Drill Run is going to secure the knockout onto the Azumarill and take the win. We've got a bit of a tricky lead in the next match, leading Whiscash into Arctibax. Arctibax is extremely strong in neutral matchups. I'm going to bank a Mud Bomb, save switch into the Toxapex. Opponent choosing to stay in, so it doesn't look like they have a Lantern in the back. And the Arctibax goes for an Icy Wind. Icy Wind is resisted, but honestly, I really like the play by my opponent, as this is going to make it a lot more difficult for me to remove Arctibax from the field, as they've debuffed the already low attack on the Toxapex. No baits here, I'm going straight for the Sludge Wave, looking to either grab a lot of damage or a shield, and my opponent is going to commit the shield. They continue to farm up with the Arctibax, and I'm just going to let this through. Arctibax, Dragon Claw is going to get the KO. In comes Fearow, Steel Wing hitting for super effective damage, but the Arctibax survives on 1 HP and is able to make it to the Dragon Claw. I will shield up, get the farm down, and exit with a nice amount of energy. What does the opponent have in the back? They have a Azumarill. I'm farming up with the Fearow, and I'm going to be firing off the Drill Run. Much like Gligar, Drill Run is going to be the better move to go for in neutral situations, as it is better damage per energy. Steel Wing, pretty nice energy gen, so I'm already at another Drill Run. That will connect. I'm farming up, switching into the Whiscash, and not only do I get the catch, but I get the Mud Shot through as well. Ice Beam, not gonna hurt the Whiscash too much. I'm farming up, opponent tries to go for a Mud Bomb catch as they send in the Gligar. I hold on to my energy, and now I get to fire off multiple super effective Scalds. This Scald is going to secure the knockout onto the Gligar unless they use the final shield, which they do. I continue to farm up as the Whiscash. I'm just going to let this go. Opponent goes for the dig. That will pick up the knockout, but now I can send in Fearow. Fearow potentially trying to look for a farm down here. Opponent is going to be able to grab the final shield with an Aerial Ace. Can Fearow get the farm down? Fearow gets the farm down on 1 HP and leaves with the Drill Run loaded. Let's go, Fearow, taking out the Azu and securing the win. Picking up a slightly negative lead in the next match, Whiscash into Poliwrath. Poliwrath is a bit uncomfortable for this team, as it does have a generally winning matchup against both the Whiscash and the Fearow. Fearow, of course, is a flyer, but counter will hit for neutral, and Steel Wing is going to be resisted. My opponent firing off their energy, that's perfectly fine, as they are going to go for the Icy Wind. I'm now going to save switch into the Toxapex. Opponent farming up a ton of energy here, and they actually decide to go for a debuff onto the Toxapex. You know what? That's perfectly fine. I'm just going to continue to farm. They now send in Credilli, so they did not have an amazing response to the Toxapex save switch. Credilli is going to be met with the debuff Sludge Wave, and the opponent is going to commit the shield. So they're understanding that my team does not have a terrific response to Credilli. I do, of course, have Steel Wing on the Fearow, but I need shields in order to get the Credilli off the field, as Rock Slide would absolutely devastate Fearow. I'm firing off the Sludge Wave. That will connect. Credilli continuing to farm. Very nice charge move timing from my opponent. Even if they go for the Grass Knot, it's not going to be enough to get the KO here. They go for the Rock Slide. That's not going to cut it. I'm able to make it to the Sludge Wave. And now the opponent has a difficult choice. They've already shielded once. They shield twice. I send in the Fearow to get ahead on energy. And I'm going to have to start shielding as the opponent fires off the Rock Slide. Opponent has the back-to-back. You know what? I'm double shielding. I am full committing to the Fearow. Opponent sends in a Alolan Marowak, and Marowak is going to be completely walled here. One of the many reasons why Skeledirge is just strictly better than Alolan Marowak is Marowak is going to be completely walled unless they're running Fire Blast, and Fire Blast is just prohibitively expensive. They go for the Shadow Bone. That is double resisted, and I can farm up a ton of energy with the Fearow. I throw an alignment there, but the move doesn't register because I get the knockout. In comes the Poliwrath. I can go for the Aerial Ace, and all they have left in the back is going to be Credilli, and one Steel Wing from the Fearow means game over. Whiscash sees an amazing lead in the next match as it leads into Lantern. Opponent save switches into Vigoroth. I bank some energy on the Whiscash and send in the Toxapex. Toxapex being able to resist the counter is incredibly clutch. However, Vigoroth can still put up a heck of a fight here, just spamming out body slams every 10 turns. After 2 body slams, Toxapex already into the yellow, and I'm going to be firing off the Sludge Wave. If the opponent wants the double shield, they can potentially make a play for switch, but instead, they're just going to let that through, and they can use this as an opportunity to get quite a bit of energy on the Lantern. However, the nice thing is that I was able to store some energy on the Whiscash, so even if they do get a bunch of energy on the Lantern, I'm not too far behind. Unfortunately, I'm not able to make it to the big move there. I have to settle for the Brine. But again, the energy on the Whiscash is incredibly clutch. I can fire off the Mud Bomb on the CMP tie. Opponent commits the shield. I know that I can tank one no problem, so I am going to let this through. If they stay in, though, I am going to start shielding. In the back, opponent has Medicham, and let's see this matchup. Medicham versus Fearow. I'm going to be committing the shield as the opponent fires off the Ice Punch. As you can see, Fearow is extremely glassy. These counters are absolutely shredding through the Fearow, and I'm firing off the Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace into the Medicham will be shielded. I make it to Aerial Ace number 2, and let's see this damage onto the Medicham. Aerial Ace gets the Medicham low. It's a CMP tie, and I'm just going to let this go. So it looks like Fearow does lose the ones to Medicham, which is a bit unfortunate. Opponent goes for an undercharge to get a little bit of extra energy. They are able to make it to an Ice Punch, but an Ice Punch is not going to be enough to threaten the shield from the Whiscash. And now my opponent can send back in the Lantern, but Lantern cannot get the Spark down before the double Mud Bomb is reached. First Mud Bomb gets him low, and the second Mud Bomb will secure the KO. So again, so far, the coverage on Fearow is pretty nice, but it is very, very glassy. We get back-to-back good leads, this time leading Whiscash into Talonflame. This is very, very nice. Whiscash does have the pacing advantage, able to make it to the Scald before the opponent can make it to a potential Brave Bird or a Fly. Scald is shielded. Unfortunately, I do not get the debuff, but I do get a catch onto the Toxapex. Again, checking to see, does the opponent have a Lantern in the back? They do not. Instead, they're going to send in Lickitung, and this is perfectly fine. I'm going to fire off the Sludge Wave. Sludge Wave is going to do some solid chip damage onto the Lickitung, and I'm hopefully going to be able to put in some work with Fearow in the endgame. Lickitung farming up and firing off energy. They're going to need 2 moves to grab a KO here, so they are going to go for the Body Slam. I'm looking to make it to another Sludge Wave, but that's not going to happen. Opponent firing off the Body Slam, and that is going to pick up the knockout. The question is, can I potentially go for a 1-shield Steel Wing farm down with the Fearow and just get a massive amount of energy? Fearow looking for the farm down here. Body Slam will do quite a lot of damage. I decide to let this go as I can tank 1, but they are going to be able to make it to a second one here, and this one I should probably shield, as Incinerate does quite a lot of damage, so I do need to preserve some HP. Again, Fearow is not tanky whatsoever. Opponent, are they going to be sending in the Talonflame, or do we see the third? They're thinking about it. In comes the Talonflame. I throw 2 Steel Wings and fire off the Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace will hit for neutral damage here. Opponent is going to let that go. I'm able to make it to another Aerial Ace, but as you can see, Fearow is so glassy, getting absolutely shredded by Incinerates. I farm up, and I survive on 1 HP, making it to one final Aerial Ace, taking down the Talonflame. In the back, it's Dunsparce. I'm farming up with the Whiscash. Unfortunately, I throw on Alignment, giving them an entire rollout for free. That's extremely unfortunate, but the RNG is in my favor as I get the debuff from Scald, and there's just nothing the Dunsparce can do. I make it to Scald number 2. At that point, basically with the debuff, the game is over. I go for the second Scald, and I get a second debuff. Oh no, that is really, really unfortunate. My opponent goes for a little bit of a bad manners rock slide, and I cannot blame them. Getting debuffed by Scald twice in a row is an incredibly feels bad moment, and the Mud Bomb is going to take the win. Picking up a decent lead in the next match, Whiscash into Shadow Gligar. Whiscash, of course, does have the ability to hit for super effective damage onto the Gligar with Scald, but the uncomfortable thing about this matchup is that Scald is not enough to one-shot, and with Mudshot, you're not really going to be able to farm down a Gligar. So I can fire off the Scald, land it, get the debuff, but it still makes this matchup a bit uncomfortable. I'm farming up quite a lot of energy. I decide to shield in case they go for the dig. They bait again with an Aerial Ace. Opponent now going to send in Vigoroth, and I'm firing off this Scald. Just looking for the debuff here. Scald gets shielded, gets the debuff, in comes Toxapex. This matchup is already a bit tough for Vigoroth just due to the fact that it doesn't really have a ton of fast move pressure, but now that they're debuffed, it makes the matchup so much worse. Again, that 50% debuff from Scald is incredibly clutch. So as you can see, Fearow is able to put in some nice work in endgames, but the teammates around it are very strong, and that's helping it quite a bit, as Toxapex can just tank hit after hit, especially once the opponent's attack has been debuffed. Body Slam will connect, Toxapex gets the full farm down, opponent can send back in the Gligar, but the Gligar is extremely low. Let's see, I think they have to dig here to get a KO. I don't think an Aerial Ace will quite do it. They go for the Aerial Ace, I hang on, and I make it to the Brine. That is absolutely massive. Brine is going to get no shielded. In the back, it's Skeledirge. Let's go, Fearow. Fearow gonna fire off the drill run. This will hit for massive super effective damage onto the Skeledirge. Skeledirge is going to no shield. That does so much damage. Skeledirge is going to be firing off Disarming Voice. Disarming Voice can't quite get the KO, and I'm able to get the farm down. Moving into the next match, picking up a bit of a tough lead, Whiscash into Guzzlord. I'm farming up, and I'm going to be firing off the Mud Bomb. Mud Bomb will do some solid chip damage, and then I'm going to look to do one Mud Shot, switch into the Toxapex, and get the catch. Again, I want to check and see if the opponent has a potential Lantern in the back. Guzzlord going to stay in here, looking to rebank energy, and there it is, right on cue, the Lantern. Fearow, of course, does have Drill Run, which can hit Lantern for super effective damage, but Steel Wing has absolutely zero fast move pressure into the Lantern, and Lantern is going to be able to win all evens versus Fearow. They need the Thunderbolt here to get the KO, and there's not really a point in baiting, so they are just going to go straight for it. I farm up with the Whiscash and play to the CMP tie, as I know that Whiscash is able to win it. I fire off the Mud Bomb, that will get no shielded, and the opponent does have energy banked on the Guzzlord, and I'm guessing that's what we're going to see next. In comes the Guzzlord. Guzzlord, it doesn't matter what they throw, I can withstand the damage here. Dragon Claw will connect, Whiscash, one Mud Shot, going for the Mud Bomb, putting some pressure onto the Guzzlord. Mud Bomb will be shielded up. I'm going to switch into Fearow as the opponent fires off their energy. Let's see, I'm hoping that Fearow will be able to do well in the back. In the back, opponent has Tentacruel, and this looks playable. I'm farming up, and I'm firing off the Drill Run here on the CMP tie to the Scald. Drill Run will hit for massive super effective damage onto the Tentacruel, and this is a tough call to make, but I decided to shield up the Scald. Opponent goes for the Acid Spray, and it's all over from there, as they're gonna get a full farm down here, and unfortunately, I can't make it to 2 moves. Opponent lets it through, but Guzzlord is just simply winning for my opponent now. I can make it to the Mud Bomb, but Guzzlord has a move. They still have a shield, so this game is over. Again, the glassiness of Fearow proving to be an issue, as after that Acid Spray connected, Fearow just got absolutely melted by Poison Jab. My goodness. Alright, hopping into the final match, and we are completely walled on the lead, leading Whiscash into Golisopod. I'm farming up energy here, looking to switch into Toxapex, and the opponent fires energy. This is perfect. I want to soak energy here onto the Toxapex. Opponent continuing to stay in here with the Golisopod. Golisopod farming up a ton of energy. Now going to send in Bastiodon, but here's the thing. The switch timers are misaligned, so I can potentially take advantage of that later. I'm able to fire off the Brine. Brine doesn't really do much of anything here. It hits for super effective damage, but it is not a good move. I've already landed 2 super effective moves. Bastiodon isn't even at half health, and I'm just going to let this through. Opponent going for the Stone Edge. I believe that's an undercharge, but that allows me to switch in the Whiscash. They're looking for the farm down, but I'm not going to stay in. I go for the Mud Bomb into the Bastiodon. I'm looking for the full farm down. Come on, Whiscash. Gets the farm down. That's massive. Let's go. In comes the Golisopod, but Golisopod has taken quite a bit of damage throughout this match already, and that Scald gets the debuff and gets them close to the red health. All that Poison Jab damage they took versus the Toxapex coming back to bite them, as now I can fire off the Mud Bomb. This is resisted damage, but they're running out of HP to the point where it actually matters. They're able to make a move on 1 HP, but I can tank this. It's the Liquidation. That's not going to KO. In the back, it is Vigoroth, and I'm firing off the Mud Bomb. Mud Bomb into the Vigoroth will be no-shielded. I'm going to send in the Toxapex. Opponent fires off energy. They don't want me to make it to a move, and from here, I should just be able to Steel Wing down with the Fearow. My opponent is able to hit for neutral with the counters, but the health disparity is just too much for the opponent to overcome, and they resign the match. All in all, I had a lot of fun getting to test out Fearow. Fearow, as I mentioned at the start, has an amazing moveset. However, the biggest drawback is going to be the stat product. Typing-wise, we've seen Pokemon with the normal flying type have quite a bit of success. Obviously, Noctowl ruled the skies for many, many seasons. But one of the big differences there is in stat product. Noctowl's stat product is over 2100, whereas Fearow doesn't even get to 1700. So Fearow does really struggle in a lot of those matchups where ideally you would love to have that bulk and it just can't quite compete. I definitely could see it being good in some potential future limited metas, like the moveset is now really strong, but unfortunately the thing that's holding it back at the current moment is just the stats. It is a bit more attack weighted than you might like, but I've gotta say, the moveset, Steel Wing, Aerial Ace, and now Drill Run is absolutely phenomenal. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is sincerely appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.